Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to an event tonight, and I had to put this slick back because my hair is filthy. I'm going to do my makeup while we talk a little bit, and just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined me. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling strong. I'm really proud of myself. Okay, I made it the mission that I was going to do this year. And I have to slow down talking because I talk so fast when I get on here. Because what I've said before is that I get traumatized by Instagram. Instagram is like, hurry up, hurry up. People's attention spans are very different over here. And I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to an event tonight, so I decided I'm going to do my makeup and chat with you while I talk about some more things that are going on that you may have seen. And let's get into it. You may have seen that I was nominated for Allure's Beauty Creator. So, also, again, I think I'm supposed to look at the lens, but I look at myself on the little screen. So, bear with me. I was nominated for Beauty Creator, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my best friend. I didn't tell anybody because what I've said before, imposter syndrome is real. Okay, I was like, I'm not going to say anything because if they're like, oh, we made a mistake, then like, what am I going to do? So I didn't tell anybody. And then when it came out, my friend and it was like, friend, you didn't tell me. And I was like, I know, I should have, but I didn't. I felt I wasn't really sure. And that's where the imposter syndrome comes in because um, several years ago, I applied to Sephora Squad and I did not get it. And I made a video like sitting in my car. And honestly, I was devastated. I really was devastated. I could not think that I wouldn't get in. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I thought I would get in, but I didn't. And was like, "Oh, you lying?" They contacted me and said, "Just want to let you know you're nominated." And I'm like, "Me? You sure? What you talking about, Willis?" So the Sephora Squad really, not getting into the Sephora Squad really was a ding to my ego. I was really kind of upset about that. I couldn't have imagined even trying to do one of these again. So every year when Sephora Squad or Ulta comes around, I just don't apply for it. And I really like doing beauty stuff and putting on makeup. I'm not the best at it, but I really do enjoy it. And so um, I never thought I would do it again. I really didn't because that took the wind out of my sails. And it's getting later, so the sun's starting to go down. Another thing is that's happened is I moved again. Can you believe it? So I moved up from my other unit to a higher floor unit because apparently, what's the point of luxury high rise if you're not high, you know? What I really wanted to talk about is that I just want to thank everyone who really chimed in and talked about the whole issue that I'm having with my grief and how it's really taken me out. So the thing about it is that, everybody's suggesting grief counseling, and they're probably right. And I joked that I don't need grief counseling because I talk to you. I know that that's not true because I worked in mental health and I do know that mental health professionals are important. But when I say I have you, I'm talking about the collective you, all the people in my life. And for me, I am very lucky that the people in my life let me 100% talk about my grief and my Eddie and how much I miss him. And even my mommy, I'm going to be 55 March 2nd. My mommy literally called me the other day and was like, I get weepy for you. I don't know why he did that. I said, child, I don't know why he did that either. And my children, my best friends, they let me, whine and say whatever I need to say. And when I get on social media and talk about it, when I say that people let me talk about it and support, they really do, because so many people are like, I've been there, I know what you're going through. They've lost a family member, a loved one, and that's how I feel that I've been getting through the grief a lot. I know that the option to go to grief counseling is there, and if I decide to, I definitely will. But I I don't know if I'm ready, to be honest with you, because I don't know what that's going to look like. Is grief counseling going to wash it all away, like all the memories? I don't want that. I don't want that. I kind of I know this is going to sound crazy. I kind of need to feel the feelings, you know what I mean? Even though I don't want to feel the feelings, and that's what I said, is that I just don't want to feel it anymore, but I just don't want to lose any of it. And I feel like Eddie and God have been really working in my life since he's been gone. And I feel like every morning they have like supervision. In mental health, there's something called supervision, when like the higher ups meet with the higher ups to talk to each other. And I feel like they have supervision in the morning, and he's like, you know, your girl's going crazy. And Eddie's like, yeah, I know. And Eddie's like, I know, I want to rest in peace. And he's like, well, you're not gonna, because, and he's not. So I mean it. So, you know, not to be morbid, but I got my new place and put his urn near the window so he could see the view, because, you know, and I talk to him all the time, but I think that I'm just so lucky and so grateful in how he's moving in my life. Like, even though he's not here, I feel like he's still orchestrating things. And his sister sent me a message, and people always send me messages, and you know that they are thinking about me. And she sent me a message that really moved me, and she said, and she's older than him. Eddie's was 60, almost 63 when he passed, so she's older than him. And she was like, thank you for loving my brother. That took me out, because that was probably the most important thing to me. Not to be dramatic, but when I met Eddie, he was sad. Okay, not that I'm so, but he was sad. There was like a sadness about him that I don't know how to explain it, but he was just really sad. And he talked about how during COVID, he was very lonely. And, you know, people didn't check on him. So Eddie was never married and didn't have any children. And so he comes from a relatively large family, but he really was like, people didn't check on him. And so he always worked out. So he would like jog and go to the gym when he could, but for the most part, he was just lonely. So when I met him, and he had just like this, I don't know, this like loneliness in his eyes. See, one thing about me is I have 3 children. I never really experienced loneliness or gave it the thought of being lonely or fed into it, even during COVID, because I worked, mental health was open, and the older ones were out, but Nicholas and I were there, so I never really was alone. So when we met and started dating, like, he looked so good. I can't even tell you, because he was already fine. We know he was fine, but there was something about him. Like, people used to comment on his skin and his smile, and he had like a twinkle in his eyes, because let me tell you something. There's nothing like being loved. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. You know, we love money. Who don't love money? Love that. But somebody loving you and you being in love and knowing that you're loved is is a different kind of thing. And he knew it. And I am so glad that he knew it, because that was important to me. And one of the things that, again, I get to talk to my children all the time. They're all adults. Nicholas is a pre-adult. He'll be 19, but he's my baby. But the other two, they talk to me a lot and they help me a lot. And I remember one time my son and I, Mark, my middle one, who drives me and does the security kind of stuff, we're in the car together, and I was like, you know, this is just devastating. And I just can't believe it. And he's like, you have to think of it this way, that the time that you and Eddie had was not necessarily for you. It was for him because he had been lonely for so long. Those last few years where he was so happy was for him so he could experience that. And that gives me a lot of comfort. And listen, be able to have this conversation with you guys without crying is a big deal. Being able to put the spin on it like that helped me a lot. I have to say, it helped me to not take it so hard because it made me feel like um, I did something for him. Like the purpose wasn't just for me, because I really thought it was just for me for a second, but I knew it wasn't. But I think the reason that there's so many reasons why I'm devastated, but one of the biggest reasons that I'm devastated is because I say the thing that I loved about Eddie is that I don't even know if that counts. The thing that I loved about Eddie is that he took care of me. I think that for somebody that's a caregiver, to have somebody that takes care of you is insane. And by care, I mean, I went to work 8 to 4. Eddie worked 4 to 12. So I would come home every day at lunch, and Eddie would have lunch for me, like cooked lunch on the table, okay? A place set. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like a lunch plate set. And if he hadn't eaten, he would sit with me and he would eat with me, or he would just sit with me and we would talk and he'd calm me down because at that point, I hated my job. And we would talk and talk about the day, maybe have a little lunchtime. But he took care of me, I would go to work in the mornings, and sometimes I would go to work and he would call me like when he woke up after I obviously have gone, and he would say, I told you not to leave without having money in your wallet. I put cash in your wallet. Like, you need to have cash in your wallet. Like, he was old school Haitian man. Okay. Or for me, hypervigilant, always in charge, taking care of everything, doing everything, being the boss of everything. And he took charge, like took care. And so I didn't have a washer and dryer. So I would go to the laundromat. That man was like, no, you're not doing that. We're going to drop the laundry off and I'm going to pick the laundry up. Like, what? Like someone to take the load off when I say cared. Um, and so now I'm doing content creation a lot. Like I'm picking up the pace and people are really liking me. And so I got a PO box because packages were coming to my house all the time. And one day I was like, I had to go to work and the thing. And I said to him, can you do me a favor? And I was like, no, never mind. And he's like, what? And I said, no, it's okay. And he said, oh my God, Selena, please. And I said, well, can you pick up my packages from the UPS store? And he's like, by the gym? And I said, yeah. And he said, of course, why would you? Oh my God. Like he was, whatever burden he could take off of me, he would take off of me. Like, take care of me. There's gas in your car. The car is shoveled out. Like, it's time to put the laundry away. And he'd be like, are you all right? Are you tired? And I'm like, I'm a little tired. And he's like, well, go lay down. Like, never more. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I miss. Because he took care of me. That was my man, my man, my man. I'm not even gonna hold you. Okay. So it was those little things I think that were like so hard for me, to somebody to take care of me. Like, just sit on the couch and rub my feet, please. Okay, you see how the color is changing in here? It's getting so dark because I started a little late today. So I just turned on a light to try to see. So these are LYS pre-sticky lashes. We're going to try to put them on because I don't have lash extensions or anything because I've been fighting for my life in my apartment, and supposedly These are supposed to be easy to put. Child. Okay, now. So back to my man. So these are the things that I know is going to be a hard act to follow because he just was unbelievable. Like a gentleman to his core. Like he didn't know how to be any other way. And I think that's, you know, is so rare now. Not so rare. There's men out there. There's somebody out there for me. I don't know. There's nobody out there for me because I'm not interested, but there's men out there that are definitely like that. I say it all the time about my daughter's fiance. He is a really good man like that. Like he takes care of my daughter, and I love that. That's important for me. So I know there's other men out there, but this one really threw me for a loop because I kissed a lot of frogs before I got to him. Like, are we okay out here? Like, are the people out here okay? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna do the grief counseling. Oh my God, it's getting so dark. I'm so sorry. I might have to turn the light on because I you see what I'm saying? It's going. We're going. We're going. We're fading. We're fading out. Let me see what happens. Okay. Okay, I got a light to save the day. I'm trying to get the hang of this. So I say all of that rambling to say I don't know what the future holds for me in finding somebody else because, like I've said to you before, my mom has said to me that my dad has been like, do you think she'll date again? And my mother always says the same thing. That's going to be a tough act to follow. And it's going to 100% be a tough act to follow because the first thing I'm going to say is, Eddie, don't do it like that. So that's the thing. Like Eddie was the type of person, and I know I think it's making it sound like that the things that he did, all of the things were monetary. It's not the monetary part of it. It was like his actions, like he just really was like the head of the household, like how old school men. And remember, we're in our 50s and 60s, so it is a little different than, young people and the way life is and the way we have to handle life and how we have to maneuver. So I don't criticize I don't criticize any of the, young people for how they have to do things because it's just the reality of it. But I know that Eddie is really moving in my life and seeing everything I'm doing and being there. And, does it hurt that he won't be at the wedding? Because the way he would have been having a custom suit made as we speak. I mean, like, as we speak, because he was dapper. Okay. I had an event a couple of years ago with Target when they did their collabs with like Sergio Hudson and everyone. And the event was that on a rooftop, and I got to wear Sergio Hudson, and Eddie came to the event with me, and he always played his position. And I'm going to find a picture of him. And I was wearing a turquoise top with a turquoise skirt, and he had a suit made that would coordinate. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm talking about. So that's what's happening. I am going through still stage 648 of grief, where it goes from anger and sadness and despair and all these things. And God and I tussled. But when my son framed it as I was there for Eddie to give him these last few years of like family. So it's clearly time for me to wrap it up because my camera said its internal temperature is hot. I just wanted to say thank you so much for liking and subscribing and listening to me. I know we could listen to Eddie's stories all day because he was literally the love of my life. And I miss him dearly, but to be able to get through a story without crying and being you know, really joyful about him and what we had is such a big step forward for me, and I'm super grateful. So thank you for listening. And if it doesn't matter if you don't want to be, you're my grief counselors. Sorry. Bye. Like and subscribe and come back. Bye.